Hey, Shalom Akim, Yahab, Hashem, Shai, Hashem, Hakadash, Barak, Tham, double honors and salutations to elders and apostles, Grammy, Son, Wells, Brahmanash, DC, Camp. Short lesson for the whole elect. I'm just going to make this lesson brief. Abaratazar. Yeah, so, brothers, they say the so called stock market is going haywire, not reflecting reality. Why? Because, the elites have to maintain an illusion that people can still make a profit. Yeah, so if you can make a profit in the market, make it while you can, but don't think it's going to stay that way. Okay, so don't invest your mind, body, and soul into the so-called stock market. Whatever you can afford, to lose, chump change and all that stuff, that's about it. So don't be throwing your whole, paycheck into the market. The little that you could just spare, just do that. But at the same time, don't get greedy. Scripture talks about you have to be temperate in all things. So I'm going to read a quick scripture from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 3. So it tells you that in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. What day is that? When the day, the evil days. Let me start from verse 1. It says, Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. Remember now the Creator. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. All right, so don't get comfortable. This is the best time to trust in the Lord and get closer. All right. It says, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Yeah, so you can't be of that mindset anymore, man, because our people need salvation. And as a man of the Lord, you have to make sure that you put yourself on the right path. You have to pray that you make it to the end, okay? And it's a bitter journey, but at the same time, you're going to have, a couple of laughs and giggles here and there. But at the end of the journey, you know that you're going to have peace. And that's exactly what you need to be aiming for. Then in verse 2, it says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. Yeah, so when things are about to get back to normal, you shouldn't just relax. You need to tighten up more. Just like the Apostle to her says, it's not a time to lighten up, it's a time to tighten up. All right, and that, looks can be deceiving. And that's exactly Esau's society. Makes people look the other way while he's scheming of how to overthrow them. And that's how the elites stay in power. All right, they have to distract the people with all types of vices so they could end up enslaving them. Then it says in verse 3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and strong men shall bow themselves, and the grandest cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Yeah, so it just tells you that the economy is not going to be as vibrant as it needed to be, and as folks want it to be. It's going to be, what I say, a big players club, only for the big boys. Small man can no longer participate because he's not qualified. All right, he's being shut out. So all you have to do is live on crumbs and dust. All right, while the elites are busy laughing all the way to the bank, and you see that when they shut down the small businesses and all the big box stores. Your so-called Costco's and Walmart's and your Amazon and other big companies, they're making billions of dollars because the small companies are no longer allowed to operate. All right. So it's just terrible. Okay. So you just have to know this is the sign of the times, and you have to prepare yourself accordingly. So let me just play this news report from, I call him the G-Man. It gives you the straight skinny. Because I've been listening to him for years, but it's just that why. I didn't really subscribe, but hey, he gives out good information that you could always, use. And it's all prophecy.
All right, my beautiful friends, it is Friday. You know what? I'm happy about that. I really am. I look forward to doing these videos, and I love conversing with you, interacting with you. But at the same time, this whole thing, honestly, it's getting to me a little bit. It's a bit overwhelming. All right, with that said, let's get going here. So, yeah, this is Friday, January 15th, 2021. Okay, what happened today? Let's start off with the markets, okay? Stocks finished lower across the board. Cryptocurrencies got hit. Gold and silver got hit. Crude oil got hit. So what does this sound like? This is what is known as a pan sell-off. Everything sells off. Well, keep this in mind. 10-year yield is stable. Nothing major going on there. Yes, the dollar did knee-jerk higher again, but still, the dollar, you know my take on it. This is a dying asset by design. But when you see...
Hi, Sam Barker here from the Motley Fool. You're probably wondering why I'm
And that's
standing in front
Esau
of
for
this
you.
nondescript construction site. I mean, what could be so interesting about a...
And that's what you got to deal with, man, in these last days. You know what? Yeah, that's what you have to deal with. So let me play this real quick.
All right, my beautiful friends, it is...
Yep. Fast forward a little bit more. 206.
Talking about. That's exactly what I am talking about. Markets do this. And I told all of you last week, week before that, whatever it might be, that this market needs to give some back. This market fell today, yeah. Nothing dramatic at all whatsoever. The market has gotten so massively stupid. And I mean, I'm talking about valuations that are in super bubble territory. Why?
Let me read it to you. So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 19, verse 14. It says, The Lord Yahbashim Bashim Krakodash hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. And that's basically the stock market, man. Up and down, up and down, up and down, staggering, you know. No stability. And that's the mindset of Esau. You know, for him to maintain his rulership, he has to create instability. All right. And then verse 15 says, Neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And that goes into your so-called universal basic income. All right. So they're going to have to squash the middle class to the bottom of the rung and live on handouts from the government. And that's the plan. You know, the elites want more power. They don't want any interruption or what you call interference to their rulership. You know, because they know that they have a small window, and they try to, take advantage of it, but they can't, because the Lord Yahbashim Shai has already set a bound, all right, for how long he has to rule.
The debt market is beyond the super bubble. So if you have the debt market, which is causing distortions like you cannot believe across the spectrum of asset classes, I'm not even talking about rigging here. I'm talking about looking at the debt market, look at what they're doing to the debt market, the Federal Reserve buying it all, inflating.
And that's the way called plunge protection, And one thing they will never talk about on all these financial news shows on cable, your Bloomberg, your MSNBC, whatever. They never talk about how the Federal Reserve is basically propping up the market. They don't go into the details. They just don't want to talk about it. All right, they come up with new terms, to mesmerize the people, to make the people feel good about the situation there. And so when you watch Bloomberg TV and all that stuff, you're not going to get a real sense of what's really happening. It's just, the so-called Wizard of Oz effect. Okay, so the book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse. Let me look at verse 13. Oh, you know what? Let's see. Let's look at this real quick. It might just be the book of Ecclesiastes. Let me look at this properly. Oh, bear with me. All right. Yep, the book of Ecclesiastes. Yeah, book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 13. It says, consider the work of the Most High, for who can make that straight which he had made crooked? Yeah, so there is no making America great anymore, man. America was destined to be crooked. It was not meant to be fair and balanced. All right, it's meant to be a society for the rich, all right, for the elite. Okay, so they have to squash down the people that think they have a shot at becoming a stable and raising a family here. So all those so-called gains they've made over the decades and centuries is just gonna go down the drain. All that middle class family, that's all that stuff is not gonna be something that people can reach for anymore, because there's a time for Esau to usher in his new world order, and he has to make sure society stays in such a way that he is able to maintain control. And then it says in verse 14, in the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. The Most High also has set one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him. And is that clear? So the Lord has already set this elite in a trick bag to let them know that they can't outwit the Lord. Okay, it's a Most High show, and they're just operating from his playbook, and you can't really tell the director, to change the line, change their line, and all that stuff. So that's exactly what you have to deal with, man. In these last days, you're gonna see, the prosperity of people turn to sadness. All right. So I read it again. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 14. It says, in the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. So this is the advice for the men of the Lord. All right. Don't get carried away, by prosperity of this world, man. When there's time for you to be prosperous, get what you can, and get a little extra. But when times get worse, always remember that the Lord got you. Your mind and your soul does not, it's not really scheduled, how you say, destined to be attached to this world. So you gotta be spiritual, all right? And then it says the Most High also has set the one over against the other. In other words, it's balance. You have to understand when times are cold and when times are hot, and how you need to operate. Okay, and then play the scripture. This video some more to get some more scriptures.
Being that we know, because I've covered this to the point of nauseum, that assets derive value from what's happening in the debt market, you can clearly understand that none of this makes sense. None of it makes sense at all. Our economy is dead. It's over. It's over. But the stock market doesn't seem to realize that. Why? Easy money. More easy money. The Federal Reserve nearly doubling its balance sheet last year. And we are on target to more than double this year, yet again.
All right. And then the book of Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 10 says, all right. Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord Yahweh Shemeshah Bashmuch HaKadosh, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. How ye inhabitants of Maktesh, all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. Yep. So the economy is about to go into a really, really dark territory, and a lot of people are going to lose their life savings and retirement and all that stuff. The pension funds. So it's all going to go down the crapper, and that's exactly what the elites want. All right, they have to erase people's financial stability so they could maintain eternal control over them. Okay, and it's that clear. And that's exactly what these Amalekites want, man. They use all these adversities, or let me say crises, to multiply their power and stranglehold on the economy of the world. Okay, it's that clear, it's that obvious. And then final precept will be from the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16. All right, 2nd Ezra chapter 16. I'm going to read from verse 40. So it says, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to that battle, and in those evils be as pilgrims upon the earth. So as time getting hard, you gotta be a soldier for Mashiach Yahushua. You gotta be spiritual. Because remember, your warfare is not carnal. It's a spiritual battle, and you have to expect the Lord Yahushua to intervene. Expect divine intervention. Okay, and then verse 41 says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. So businesses are not going to be as profitable as they used to be. Basically, you're going to have a fire sale, going out of business sale, liquidation sale, 25% off, 35% off, 80% off. All right, because folks got to get rid of merchandise. And that's a wise thing to do. You got to use one product to get another product. That's all it is. And then it says, he that occupieth merchandise as one, as he that had no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. So the real estate market is not going to be as promising as it's claimed to be. When you get calls from these real estate brokers and the banks and these lenders will not get in touch with you, you're just looking at the big picture. All right, because once you put your name on that paper and put your ink, you put your name on ink on this paper, you get done with the bank, do your appraisal and everything. You're basically on your own. All right. So there's no need of you thinking that it's gonna be profitable, because we're only here for a short time. So you need to be spiritual and let the Lord Shai guide you through. There's nothing wrong with getting a house, but you just have to understand the responsibilities you're exposing yourself to. It's not something that you can take for granted. All right. Then verse 43 says, he that soweth as if he should not reap. All right, that's your farmers. Yeah, so the farmers are going to go through a hard time because the elite are also planning, to squeeze the food supply. So also he that planted the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. So it's going to get ugly, all right, for farmers and, the elites. They're desperate to control, people's lives, and they're going to push. So let me play some more of this video.
Have you heard that from the mainstream media? When was the last time you turned on CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business, I don't know, any of them, and they explained to you that the Federal Reserve's balance sheet nearly doubled last year? How about crickets? You don't hear anything. You're only allowed to know what they want you to know in this twisted environment. Again, it's so sick.
Yep. So I'm going to fast forward some more.
Each Febreze car vent clip gives you up to 30 days of fresh air. so you can have open window freshness, even with all the windows up.
Yeah.
Enjoy fresh anytime with Febreze.
That's Babylon for you.
Each Febreze car vent clip gives you up to 30 days of fresh air, so you can have open window freshness, even with all the windows up. Enjoy fresh anytime with Febreze.
And that's the illusion they want you to keep your mind in. You know, we getting through the days of adversity. You know, you got a woman driving a convertible with a dog in a car. Definitely, you know, she's single. She just got a high-paying job, at least 6 figures. You know, she's excited about her life prospects. That's exactly the mindset they want to push. All right, and that's ESO society for you. All right. So let's see. That's one thing you have to understand. You know, the days of adversity is coming. Yeah, that's one thing you have to understand, Akim. So don't get upset. You know, be
All
spiritual.
right, my beautiful friends.
Let's see what else I could fast forward to.
And more cash to hear. Where is it coming from, Joe? Joe, you've said this many times, and I'm going to hold you to it. You said you were going to level. You said you were going to level with the American people. Okay? Unlike the last guy, never leveled with the American people at all. He just lies. You're going to lie too, Joe. You're going to lie beyond the level. If you were leveling with the people, Joe, you would be explaining to them that America is broke. We are in an economic meltdown, and all you're doing is fulfilling the end game of your puppet masters, just like President Trump did, which is the Federal Reserve, the shadow government. Come on, Joe, level with us. Level with us. You said you were going to. There's no way on earth, Joe, you're going to level with me or anybody else because you can't do it.
And that's the point right there. All right, so the puppets can't go against the so-called masters, man, because they're all under control. That's exactly what Trump did, you know. And when you go on beat shoots and listen to all what they're doing, talking about the deep state's about to be squashed, you know, the trap has been set. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, so that's the point that I came. Hope you've been edified. And just keep your eye out for more financial news coming out, and pay attention to what's going on. Shalom.